You're watching the Isaiah Factor, Uncensored.
And welcome back to the second half hour of the Factor Uncensored. We all know every generation tends to struggle with something out there. We're talking about things like alcoholism, bullying, or drug abuse. And sometimes one of those things is sent over the edge when Hollywood gets involved, and the problem looks like it's being glamorized. Case in point, HBO's hit TV series, Euphoria. Take a look.
How to get away with being a drug addict.
Step one, find a cover drug. Because no matter how hard you try to hide it, if you're doing drugs, you're going to get caught. It's inevitable. And when that does happen, you don't want to be on the defensive.
Now, there she is, Zendaya's character, Rue, giving a tutorial on how to get away with being a drug addict. The show itself has come under fire for glamorizing drug use among teens with the use of sophisticated lighting, edits, and just making it look tripping out is really cool. Now, Zendaya has repeatedly taken to social media to remind viewers that the show is for adults and comes with some pretty heavy topics. On top of that, the material can be triggering and hard to watch. Despite what Zendaya says, don't forget kids are really influential.
It can certainly increase or have influence in general, whether in a positive or negative direction for youths, because they do tend to identify with characters on the show, especially when you're an adolescent. You're growing your sense of identity. It can be easy, much easier to kind of try on hats, as you will, when you're watching a show that has a character you really like.
Now, drug use, especially the use of fentanyl, is just blowing up all over the country. Tonight, a look at how fentanyl kits are made right here in Houston to save those who are on the verge of dying from an overdose. So, Travis, we've had between May of 2020 and April of 2021, over 100,000 people to die in this country from drug overdose. And you have a product that could save some lives.
We do. We have a fentanyl detection kit that allows you to detect very minute amounts of fentanyl, which normally in drugs you're only going to have a very small amount, given it's such a potent opiate.
And when we talk about fentanyl, though, remind people just how dangerous it can be, like 1 gram of it.
Oh, 1 gram is a ton of fentanyl. You've got just a few specks of fentanyl is enough to do damage to a human or otherwise. So, you know, the most minute amounts can really hurt somebody.
And so this device that you've created, or this strip, is it mainly designed for law enforcement who may encounter it out in the field, out on the streets, or is it designed for maybe the user out there?
Well, it provides information, so people need to know if fentanyl is present in anything that is being interacted with the drugs. So whether it be through law enforcement, illicit uses, or otherwise, you need to know whether fentanyl is present whatsoever. So it's going to give people that information on the individual basis, or through all the way up and through law enforcement, or even the medical industry.
And I'm sure you've had to hear all of the stories out there, family members losing loved ones because they're using, in some instances, they think they're using the old school cocaine. But now many of these companies or drug dealers and manufacturers of drugs are adding fentanyl in to make it stronger, and many of the users are unsuspecting.
Right, well, fentanyl is going to offer, you know, they can put it into pills, they can leave it in powder, you can make certain drugs that the public is maybe used to, you can make them use fentanyl to make a fake derivative of that drug, and it allows for the drug business to make a much cheaper alternative than, let's say, the real thing.
And so let's take a look at what you have created here, right here in Houston, for law enforcement, for families. And let's talk about that aspect really quick. For those individuals who may be using drugs, it's almost like the old school syringe where you don't want people to die. You don't want them to get contaminated with AIDS, or, as we knew in the past, AIDS or other diseases by sharing a needle. But you also don't want them to die from fentanyl. So for the average drug user out there, and I don't know if that even exists, but this would be available to them as well.
A lot of these people do want help, but they're addicted to drugs. And so given that fact, they don't want to die. They have this addiction that they need to satisfy internally. And so you want them to be able to prolong their life long enough to potentially get help. And that's really the derivative that we're going on. If you have the information that this deadly fentanyl substance is in a drug, you don't want to proliferate people using drugs, but you want to at least give them the chance to gain the time to get help.
But
that's really what
you want to make it clear you're not condoning the use of drugs, but you know people will do it anyway, and this will keep them safe.
Yeah, in any scenario, you have challenges, and in this case, you really want to give people the chance to know whether they have something very bad in their drugs, and allow for that, like I said, longevity to seek help or solve some of their drug addiction problems. So we're just trying to provide information.
Let's take a look at your kit here. How does it work?
So what it is an immunoassay strip, and we're known for doing automated detection. We have a smartphone app called Mobile Detect, which will allow for you to do automated detection and also some reporting and sharing of data. But what it is a very simple swab that you can rub on a surface, or you could sample a pill or other substance with. And then all you're going to do in a very simple step process is take this swab, put it into the buffer solution. That's going to make a mixture that you can then use to sample with the fentanyl strip. So it's a very accurate test. You're going to dunk it into the tube, and over a period of time, say 30 seconds, you're going to have either 2 lines form or 1 line form. If you have the control and no other line, you know that you have the presence of fentanyl.
Okay. And so this is available now to law enforcement agencies around this country. How do we get it to those who may be on drugs who need it?
We have individuals who purchase even from our website directly, but really where we're going is setting up foundations or organizations, such as some organizations we're working with called ORCA, where you're really reaching out to the community to provide some of these test kits on an individual basis to, like we discussed earlier, users, people that are afraid that their drugs are laced with something, and give them that capability to know that they are hopefully not going to die or have an overdose from that interaction.
Your whole purpose, to save lives out there.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
Now remember, there's always help at any time for those struggling with addiction. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services is available 24/7. Their website right there on your screen. The free hotline, 800-622-HELP.